What's going on, Internet? I'm Christopher Peterson, and you're listening to the NerdEXP podcast. I have the pleasure of hanging out with a level 3 projection specialist.
It's level 4 projector operator.
Level 4?
Drew.
Did you an experience?
No, it's always been level 4.
Dexterity and strength went up?
Level 4 since
Intelligence?
Level 4 since 06.
A level 5 IMDb memorizer.
Hey.
That's Edgar.
Hello.
And a level 10 Disney fanatic.
That's me.
And that's Guillermo.
Yeah.
Me? I'm a level negative Hearthstone player. I think I actually get worse every week.
Oh.
Anyway,
Hello, Chris.
We're here to help you guys, and maybe ourselves, level up our nerd IQ. How do we go about doing that? By going through this week's top entertainment headlines, having a topic of the week. This week we're going to go through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and our favorite Robin Williams moments in movies, and also by listener questions. You can be part of that conversation by following us on Twitter, Facebook, LiveBlog, MySpace, Blogspot, Spotify, Reddit. I don't know. If you see NerdEXP, join it. Just like MK1982 on MyIGN did. His question for us is, what series pre-2000 would we like to see rebooted? I'm glad you said pre-2000 because, there's a lot of 2014 series that I would love to reboot. But I'm going to dig through the well. For me, I'm going to go with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I did have to look to see if this was pre-2000. Came out in 1997. The TV show movie came out before that. I think technology's improved, special effects, and the show was funny and witty, and Joss Whedon's, I didn't know he's doing movies and better things, but he definitely has the chops and the support crew to make it happen. And I just don't think that there's anything like that I'm aware of, like that's good monster of the week show, but then also can have like funny and greater narrative. So I'd like to see something kind of like that come back again.
Who do you think it would be good as the Buffy? Do you have anyone in mind?
I don't have any producers or actors.
Maybe an unknown. Like, I would love to see a new actress come up. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar was. Sarah Michelle Gellar, no one knew about before Buffy. Right?
I think she did some soaps, but yeah, I had no idea who she was. So I would go with unknowns if I had to pick a random cast. I don't know. She's old. Sorry if you're listening, but Emma Stone, she might be a little bit older, but man, I like her in almost everything she does.
Sure.
So.
Were they in high school back then?
They were in high school, kids. I'd be okay if it wasn't.
The series I would like to see rebooted is The X-Files.
Oh!
The X-Files started...
That's such a better choice.
It's The X-Files started in 1993 when I first started dating Sakari. We started watching it, and it's like...
In 1993?
Well, no, in 2006. In 2006, when we started dating, we started watching it, and it was real bad at the beginning. It was 1983, They didn't know any better. So I would love to see the X-Files with maybe David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson as mentors with new people coming in.
So I think it's valid at this point for me to ask, because there's the spoiler here.
Yeah?
How does it end?
Well...
How does the series end? I know
the series ends with both of them in bed. They're holding each other.
And the truth is out there.
The truth is out there.
Still out there. We'll get it one day.
Now with the technological advances, I would love to see them maybe the NSA is behind everything instead of the smoking man, and maybe there's more. I don't know. There's more intrigue now, so I would love to see that rebooted. I would love to see the X-Files rebooted
with the same people, with some kind of trace,
with continuity,
okay.
The X-Files was handed over to the new generation or something.
That would be a perfect idea that I don't think would be a hard sell to any student.
And they keep wanting to make the movies. There have been 2 X-File movies. One of them was in between the seasons. The other one was, I don't know, just a one-off. And they still want to make another movie. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson totally on board. And then guess what? Guess who wrote most of the X-Files?
Jeff Goldblum.
No, it's the creator of Breaking Bad. Why is his name escaping me right now? Vince Gilligan wrote a lot of the X-Files. So maybe Vince Gilligan can be part of writing the new episodes.
And the Skipper too.
What's that?
I said in the Skipper too.
Yeah.
I was actually reading this morning about some random news, and one of the things that came out is Gillian Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
She's publishing her own book. Like, it hit shelves today. It's a mystery book series about investigators of the supernatural.
Cool.
So she's, it's co-written. Her name is like huge on the cover, and then right underneath it says "and somebody else."
And the person who did all the real work.
But it's
The
I guess,
writer.
I guess the interest is still there. I mean, the genre that she chose to write about, it's pretty hits close to home.
Stuck with her.
It mixed a lot of like secret agents, like secret shadow, like government agencies and aliens and monsters of the week. It was a huge arc, and it lasted like 9 seasons, something like that. So that's the one I would like to see rebooted.
Good idea.
Good choice.
I'm pretty inexperienced with TV pre-2000. I didn't. I've only been watching TV for the past year. I got a lot of catching up to do. X-Files is on my long list, but I think my greatest obsession and something I'd like to see rebooted from the '90s is Animaniacs. I think I don't know, just more current.
Sure.
They had some political satire and stuff like that, and I think seeing the animated Barack Obama on there, like they had Clinton. That would be funny, and they could update the Nations of the World song. It's a bit outdated now. So,
Any chance? I guess for that rebooting, would you like it to see maybe Animaniacs now interacting with real world, as in like live action,
No, I don't
animated
think so.
mixed with live action?
I think it'd be cool as a one-time skit, one episode maybe, but I don't think it should be carried on more than that.
With Steven
It
Spielberg?
wouldn't be bad. Yeah,
Steven Spielberg on
I mean,
it?
his name will be on it no matter what. He's getting that paycheck.
Just the intro, I can see it in my head, seeing that as live action.
I've always wanted to be Yakko for Halloween, but I keep telling myself, when I lose weight, I'm going to be Yakko. I guess I have to be Wacko. Whatever.
I think that's a great choice, and I feel like such an old man because I'm like, cartoons these days aren't as good, but I feel like they're not. And I wonder if our parents felt the same way when they saw us watching Animaniacs. They're like, "Oh, it's all slapstick and silly and ridiculousness." The same way I feel when I watch Adventure Time. I was like, "There's nothing here. They just throw a bunch of stuff to the wall." And I'm like, "Yeah, hopefully people will laugh at it."
Right.
But something very classic definitely wasn't, pre-90 or it's definitely pre-90s, or pre-2000s. Wait. Scooby-Doo is a prime example. 70s Scooby-Doo, which was Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? With they had different cameos and different people like joining as special guests. That series of Scooby-Doo, they tried replicating that now in the late 2000s, and it just hasn't been successful. Scooby-Doo, the go-to Scooby-Doo is still the 70s Scooby-Doo. So, I mean, it goes to say that. I mean, it hasn't been that well done.
Is Scooby-Doo your choice?
It is not, even though that is pre-2000. Something now with, I guess Cosmos is the big science show and the revival of people interested in science. I didn't grow up, really in the 90s here in the U.S., but something that when I did move to the U.S. and something that I definitely wanted to see more of was Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy, the way he presented concepts for science. I mean, my favorite class, even though I had did not understand a lick of English when I came here, really, science was my favorite class because on Fridays, every Friday, we got to watch an episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy.
That's cool.
Because for some reason, my teacher was always absent on Fridays. So we always got a sub, and they just popped in the video.
It was Thirsty Thursdays.
So, nowadays, I think kids these days could absolutely use a Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye, it still looks exactly like Bill Nye, talks like Bill Nye. Absolutely, I think that should be a remake of a 90s show. I don't know all of us just went for the 90s shows, but I guess that's...
I think that's a great choice, and I feel like Bill Nye is more popular now than he might have been when the show was going.
Yeah, I agree.
So, great choices, guys. Thank you. And thank you, MK1982. If you guys want to have your question answered by our panel of experts, then definitely send it in. Moving on to TV news, Better Call Saul is a
Saul.
Heard it both ways. Is a spin-off from Breaking Bad, and AMC has released the first teaser. Edgar, I know you're super excited about this.
I am excited because I like Bob Odenkirk. Like I also love Saul. I love Saul in Breaking Bad. So I'm very excited about this. Too bad it comes out in 2015 though.
Were you excited about the clip they gave us?
They did push it ahead though, right? It's like February 25th.
Yeah, February.
It's a little sooner than before.
Yeah, I mean the teaser was nice, but it was way
What
too
was
short.
nice about it is 11 seconds.
It was
I
too
love
short.
Breaking Bad.
I'd like to see him
love
though.
the
He's
character.
cool.
Yeah, but I feel like this could have been a clip from the actual series, and you could have sold it to me as like, that
Deleted scene from Breaking Bad.
Right, it didn't reveal anything about anything. It didn't really give any insight about the character. It was just Saul with a little bit more hair.
Is nothing more than a tease. That's all. Like,
If anything, made me angry that they're willing to do this crap. I mean, it's February. They already apparently have quite a few episodes already under their belt, including one directed by Bryan Cranston himself.
Cool.
Who is not going to? I think I read today that he said that he will not be making a cameo as part of season 1. But he will be he is already directing an episode. So that was
cameo behind the scenes.
That's right.
Understand the outrage. I've never, seen Breaking Bad,
Boo.
so I'm a horrible human being.
You should.
But you had 6 seasons of backstory and trailer. I mean, this is not an unknown. This is not a new IP. You already do have your backstory and your history, and I feel like you know what you're going to get with this show.
5 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, 5
A and B.
Well, yeah, part 1 and part 2 or whatever.
Perfect season. Perfect season. Perfect trailer for me would have been something completely out of Saul's element. Like maybe him wearing jeans and a t-shirt and doing some farm work. Like something really hard work.
That's a little weird, but
No.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, what I wanted is something that's completely out of the element that we got used to see. That teases the heck out of that show. Not, I'm going to get to see another of the same thing. Because I'm not interested in seeing him be Saul. I'm interested to see how he got to be that Saul that we got to see. So.
Well, we know prequels typically turn out really great, so I'm sure this one will too.
I'll watch it. I love Breaking Bad is my favorite show ever.
it's up there.
I'm definitely going to see it.
Speaking of favorite, Marvel asked fans to vote on their favorite Marvel story for their 75th anniversary of printing comics, and they combined them all into a huge omnibus. This thing's going to be over 1,000 pages. And when they say stories, if the story was 7 issues, they're going to have all 7 issues in there. So this is not 75 issues of comics. This is hundreds of issues. Not going to go through
arcs. 75 stories.
Yep, 75 stories. Some are single issues, some are 2 issues, some are 8. So I mean, there's definitely a widespread. There's a good representation of Captain America, Hulk, Fantastic Four, Namor. I mean, people who know a lot of stuff that's older because I think nostalgia plays a factor into that. I think this is great fan service. Curious to see what the price on something this huge is going to be. Just curious you guys' thoughts. And I'm going to go through the top 5. Not going to go through all 75. In descending order, starting at 5. X-Men, Dark Phoenix Saga. Daredevil, Born Again. Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt. Number 2 is Civil War, which is, I think, without just glancing at the list, is the newest product on here. And the number 1 is Spider-Man: The Death of Gwen Stacy, which a lot of people kind of call the turning point of comics. When characters actually started dying and comics kind of grew up. Overall, great list. Any thoughts, concerns?
Like we said about Death of Gwen Stacy, it's comparable to Final Fantasy VII. Video games grew up. I've heard that said about Final Fantasy VII before. That's what made me think about it.
I liked the Dark Phoenix Saga on the X-Men animated series.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad to see X-Men represented. This is my favorite superhero
I'm surprised to see Daredevil
group
as a fan favorite up there.
I mean, Daredevil might not have a huge popularity all the time, but when there's a good Daredevil comic, it gets a lot of recognition and a lot of love. So,
Now, I'd be interested. So, are they going to physically release a book?
yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be an encyclopedia of comics. I hope they have plans for making this thing digital and available digitally. I mean,
I've heard people who love reading comics digitally.
yeah, absolutely. I had a few.
Well, I mean, let's pose that question, Chris. You collect comics. Which do you like better, digital or physical? Like, when this gets released, will you buy it?
I probably won't. I own some of these are already owned in
Sure.
trade paperbacks, or I own Civil War and other things. I just own them in a lot of different media. So unless it's a nice price, I probably won't buy this.
Okay.
If I was to buy something like this, probably digital. To be honest, wherever was cheapest. At the end of the day.
Okay.
So, and that's my problem with digital comics is just they're not price competitive yet. They cost just as much as paper floppy comics, but when I go to a comic book store, I get a 15% discount for being a member, so they actually end up being cheaper than digital comics. But I've actually quit comics.
Wow.
I'm still gonna follow the news, and maybe pick up trade paperbacks, but I'm no longer collecting comics monthly. So.
You ran out of room.
You took your name off of the thing? What was it?
The profile?
The profile?
I did. I had a breakup with my comic book store, and it felt like a breakup. They were like, "Why are you leaving?" So
I gotta move.
I hope we never run into each other in the store.
Well, that's I guess going into that. I mean, it goes to say, I mean, the value, but something that I had heard about the comics and something that you just mentioned, that not being price competitive. I thought that this was a thing already, and it might be just an up-and-coming thing, but it was a subscription service. You paid $20 a month, and it gave you access to every single comic book, all new, and all of it. And it was completely backed by Marvel.
Marvel has something called Marvel Unlimited.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Probably.
It's not new issues. It's not day and date.
Right, it's not the same thing that's on the shelf, but it's definitely like access to all the other storylines.
They do have a really good catalog, but they're not consistent with their delivery. If they were like, hey, everything that gets published in May, we're going to release on this app in November, I would probably sign up for it. They'd be like, you know what, I can live 6 months in the past and read every Marvel comic book. But they don't do it that way. They before Winter Soldier comes out, they're like, hey, let's take the last 2 years of Winter Soldier comics and put them out. But hey, we still haven't put anything out from the last 3 years of Spider-Man. So it's kind of like hit and miss of what they do decide to put on there. And there's stuff from like the past 5 years or some of the big events, but there might not necessarily be all the tie-ins. They might just give you one issue here and there. Like, hey, try this issue of Iron Man 1 through 3. Oh, you want issue 4? Yeah, we knew 3 in on a cliffhanger. Go buy it. So it's not a perfect situation yet.
Okay.
But I mean, if they had a Netflix subscription, yeah, I would toss $20 at Marvel. I would toss $20 at Marvel and $20 at DC to read comics that are 3 months old, unlimited.
For a year? Or per month?
Per month.
Per month.
I pay per month. I mean,
Damn.
books are $4
Yeah.
in stores. Like one 20-page book on stores or online is $4.
Wow.
So I mean, that's why I got out. Like, just too many books. I wasn't enjoying them as much as I used to. I have a post on my site. Thanks for reading it, Edgar. That was sarcasm.
No.
Seeing as you did.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
It's okay.
No, nobody reads my site. That's not true. I had 400 unique visits. And
MK
podcast,
1982 apparently reads it.
and podcast is actually the number 3rd. I should tell you this offline. Visited section. So we had about 100 unique visits last month.
What?
So
Time to monetize the site.
Making me blush.
I think
So-
we shouldn't recall it the NerdEXP. Let's just call it Nerd.
But moving on, a lot of sidetracks there. Today is first day of Gamescom, second day if you count yesterday. But anyway, a lot of announcements coming out of that. First one, PlayStation 4 sold 10 million units to people, not stores. This is in living rooms.
Pretty impressive.
That's a big deal, considering that they came out like similar times, and The Xbox One was a little bit more expensive, and yeah, I mean that's a huge win for.
To me,
Sony.
that's a huge number for a console that it didn't really leap like all the other consoles have. Between a PS2 and a PS3. PS3 to PS4 was like, yeah, we're giving you a little bit nicer graphics, but we're still gonna fully support that PS3. So it wasn't like a full-on commitment. Pretty impressive that all these people made the jump.
Oh yeah,
10 million. I'm still behind, and I'm still thoroughly enjoying my PS3.
And there's a reason not to, and you're absolutely right. This is not the leap to HD or the leap to 3D that we saw beforehand. So I mean, this is more of a subtle. This is textures and shadows and interface and loading times and behind the scenes. Games are definitely better, but it's not this obvious thing that you can point to and say like, aha, this is it. And Xbox One is doing well. I mean, the Xbox One is still a very good selling system. I think it's the second best selling new console of all time.
There are worse selling consoles.
It just, for Microsoft, it sucks because, yeah, it's the second best, but the first best is PS4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Xbox was selling its exact same numbers and PS4 was selling less than the Xbox, this whole narrative would be very different.
Do we think it's a marketing strategy at this point? I mean, the Xbox did have a lower price point.
No, it was more expensive.
Or they had a more... that's what I meant.
They had to lower it.
Right, but how did they lower it?
By getting rid of the Kinect.
Kinect.
Yep.
Right, so... To me, it seems like this Kinect movement is done.
Oh, taking it out of the console
Right.
killed it. Like, the fact that developers can't guarantee that people who own an Xbox One have a Kinect means that they won't put Kinect functionality, which, just becomes a slippery slope of your Kinect is now voice control. And that's probably going to be about it.
Wow.
It already was that, right?
Yeah.
360.
I mean, I think Sony ate their lunch on the PS3. They had too much swagger when they came out and announced it, and they learned from their mistakes, and they marketed the PS4 to gamers. They said, this is a video game console, enjoy your video games on it. Of course it can stream, of course it can do this other stuff. And Microsoft came out and said, hey, the Xbox One's the center of your living room. Enjoy it. You can watch TV and sports and put your HDMI cable into it and do all this stuff. And people weren't as excited about that.
Good enough.
And the PS4 has a lot of great indie support and a lot of good games coming from PC. One of those games is DayZ. This was a PC game that's going to come to PlayStation in 2015. A lot of excitement about this. It is a kind of open world zombie simulator where you will just be dropped in a random environment and you have to hunt for supplies. You can run into survivors. There are good survivors. There are bad survivors. And
But there's
really,
actual people.
yeah,
Like, you're running into actual other players.
other players. Yeah, these are not NPCs. This is an online game where every other human you run into is a human-controlled character, and when you die, you're dead.
The zombies are not.
The zombies are AI.
Okay.
So this is not a zombie simulator. If you've dreamed of playing as a zombie, this is not the game for you. But I mean, this kind of just shows some of the power of the PS4. And I don't mean this derogatory, but the best PC games come to PlayStation 4. Sometimes they come to Xbox One as well. But I mean, Sony is making sure that those really enjoyed games, Rogue Legacy, Papers, Please, make their way over to the PlayStation infrastructure. So I mean, and these are great on PC, but they do kind of get filtered out, and Sony doesn't get as much garbage, or it becomes the best edition of the game when they do finally get released.
Interesting. I mean, for a game like this, the only thing that I would fear is, again, what happens when it's not longer popular. It just becomes another game on the shelf. So, I mean, how long has the computer game been out? A little bit now?
I want to say 2 years.
And it's still popular.
Yeah.
So how much popular can it get with not adding a PlayStation 4? I hope it's not the same game. I hope they market it towards, here's more episodes, more settings. A reason to really get into it again.
And you just made me think of something, and I hadn't looked it up, and I don't think they've announced this. I don't know if the ecosystems are compatible. So, you bring up a great point of when you play an online game like this, other players are part of the infrastructure. Like, they are part of the experience. So, is this game going to just jump right into the PC world, or is it going to be on its own servers with its own...
Has any game done that yet? That they just do one shared server regardless of what system you play with? I don't think anybody really has mastered that or wanted to master that. It seems that, like whenever the, like Call of Duties, which are the big, server-based games, and, I guess that's a good example. PlayStations have their own world, Xbox has their own world. Sports games, like Maddens and whatnot. Yeah. It would be so nice if I can pick a copy up for PS3 and play somebody on the Xbox. Not compatible. Two different accounts, two different servers. So it would be nice to have one game that all of a sudden really breaks that barrier.
Maybe one day.
The closest I can think of would be a DC Universe Online allowed PS3 and PS4 players to play with each other. But still, that's all Sony. That's all the same infrastructure. They weren't tossing people over the fence and going into PC or anything like that.
Interesting enough.
And then also coming out of Gamescom, kind of a amendment to something that I was previously excited about. I still think this is a great idea. This is a positive momentum. But Far Cry 4 has a multiplayer mode where if I own a copy of the game, I can invite Edgar to play my game. When they announced this at E3, they said, hey, play the game with your friends. That's all they said. And we're like, great, that's exciting. They showed a bunch of clips. The expectation was that you can play the whole game with your friends. Now comes the asterisk.
Oh, God.
I, as an owner of the game, have 10 keys that I can give out to 10 unique people. And then when they activate the key, they can play for 2 hours.
2 hours?
Oh.
So it went from, hey, you can play this game with your friends, they don't have to own a copy, to, hey, you can be a demo service for your friends.
That's terrible.
So, I mean, I really liked where it went. I want to say it's still positive, but it feels like the rug got pulled out.
Yeah.
I mean, they promised more, implied more, and then they just got rid of it.
Yeah, that's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, I remember you being excited about that when we were talking about E3.
Right, and I think we brought up how we could share the games, on DS.
Yeah.
Wow. Why would somebody
That's
make
for more than 2
like
hours. As long as your battery lasts.
Why would they do something like that?
It's just bad marketing. Like, if they were going to put this restriction, they should have come out with it instead of
creating a hype and
taking it away.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder whether somebody said, wait, what are you guys doing? We can make money off of this. Here's what we should give you.
There might have been some confusion internally.
Ooh, maybe too. I mean, sometimes, like in movies, like the people who do the marketing and the trailers for movies are not made by the filmmakers. Filmmakers rarely have a say on the trailers.
Unfortunately.
Which, yeah, that is the case. So the marketing companies are the ones that really have full control of the trailer. Directors, I would say, of course, that I think a big final say, but if a marketing company wants to turn your horror flick wants to sell it as the like a mocking of the horror genre, they can do that and completely ruin whatever you had vision wise for an idea. So
I could see this being a bean counter decision. That somebody said, hey, we will sell half as many copies if you do this, because they will just play with their friends and figure it out. Gamers are cheap, so don't do that. Another thing that I assume that is very much a bean counter decision, but I don't understand, is Tomb Raider is going to be exclusive to the Xbox One.
Ugh.
Tomb Raider came out with a reboot, just called Tomb Raider, and it did really well. It was cross-platform, PS3, Xbox 360, PC. They released a definitive edition on Xbox One, PS4. All copies sold well. I don't know exactly. I think it was like 4 million, 5 million, all said and done. All signs point to it being a success. And now the sequel, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Xbox One only.
Interesting enough, a note that I had on here is that, and I actually did the research on this, the original game was developed for the PC, then later on followed for the Sega Saturn, then the PlayStation 1, or the PlayStation. And then I don't think it made the jump. I don't think regular Xbox ever had a Tomb Raider game.
There wasn't no Xbox until PlayStation 2. So Sony did have exclusivity to Tomb Raider during that PlayStation era.
Okay.
So it wasn't going over to 64 at the time. So, but the craziest thing to me is no PC. Like console exclusive.
I was born on PC.
Console exclusive. I'm like, man, that's crazy. I can't believe they're doing that. But that stuff happens. Sony throws a pile of money, but no PC support. Because PC is also pretty much synonymous with Microsoft.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when people talk about PC gaming, they're not gaming on Linux and OS that often. Like, they're gaming on Microsoft. So, it's just weird that it is Xbox One only.
Here's how I interpreted also this story is they gave this, what's the full game of the title? Tomb Raider?
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. What if they sold exclusive for Xbox, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then now they're going to have an exclusive just for the PS4, which is soon to be announced. We're going to see that around the holidays. And then there's the computer-only exclusive. Tomb Raider is now to me, as far as popularity, and prominence as video games, it's taken a backseat big time. There's much other heroes, even, being that this is the only one of the big female heroines for video games, it's taken a backseat for video games. You see a Tomb Raider game before. I remember when Tomb Raider 3 came out, which is the only copy that I actually bought, and that was my Christmas present. Tomb Raider 3, back for the PC. I remember shelves on the, on stores, just all Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider this, Tomb Raider that.
Yeah.
And then now it's like it's just another release, only 4 copies available. If you waited 3 months, it'd be $10. So
the series definitely got ran into the ground. You're
Okay.
absolutely correct. But that, the Rival was fan received and critically received well.
what was the company behind it? The producing game,
Eidos, but now it's Square Enix. Square Enix absorbed.
Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
What?
So
Wow.
I got Drew's attention.
and they tried to backpedal. They were like, "Hey guys, we're still releasing Tomb Raider: Temple of Osiris for all systems. That's a twin stick shooter. That's not the same as this, large scale action adventure romp."
Victory for the Xbox. Victory for them to actually get an exclusive like this. Usually they're all like, yeah, Halo. Well, great, you call that an exclusive. No one else. You developed the dang thing.
Yeah.
It's like me saying, Mario's the exclusive for Nintendo. It's like, duh. So,
Enix ruins everything, so.
Aww.
ooh. But we touched on this, and I guess just a brief mention on something that I didn't know it existed. Something that because of this Tomb Raider game and other early computer adaptations, the computer that I owned at the time wasn't the best computer that could run all this. So half of the games that I played in the computer were at a slow computer. So that shied me away from playing games on the PC. And then when I heard about this Alienware Alpha Gaming PC, which is running a Steam OS platform, which is going to be having a computer, an Alienware computer, where you can just go, if you run out of memory, you can just go swipe switch out the hard drive. If you want more RAM memory, you can do that. You can upgrade the video card yourself. So it's very peripheral computer based. And then now the OS that comes on it, you can still run your Windows 7 or whatever Windows 8, whatever the heck Windows is on now. But now you can also run Steam OS, which you can choose the computer that you turn it on just like a console.
Wow.
And you have a Bluetooth remote or a Bluetooth controller just like a console. But you're able to play computer games that are compatible with the Steam OS, which Steam is, it's huge. The amount of games that
And this
they
is
have.
related to the Steam program on computers.
Steam program,
where you
yeah.
buy games and stuff.
Yep.
Exactly. Online
Same
without
people.
anything. Yeah, and we're actually looking pictures here.
It's not
Don
Don Cheeto. It's not Don Cheeto.
It's not Don Cheeto.
It's Valve's Steam box. They were trying to come out with these, and kind of somewhere along the production, Valve was kind of like, I don't know if we're really going to push these out as much, but Alienware already put the time and research and everything in it, and they were like, "Screw it, we're still going to push them out." And Valve's like, "Great." Maybe you're the audience, Cameron, but like, I don't know who this is for.
Okay.
Like, these things are expensive.
Okay.
I don't think they're any cheaper than a computer. They're
Or a PS4 or an Xbox.
Yeah, they're definitely not cheaper than a PS4 or Xbox. So if you're a PC gamer and like swapping memory and stuff like that, you would already do that.
True.
And if you just want a console experience, just to press the button and play, this still doesn't do that. Like, you still have to like figure out what mode to boot it in, and there's still going to be some setting issues. So, I mean, maybe there is a market for this. I just don't see it. It seems like a very gray. It's going to fall between the cracks.
Fair enough.
The less expensive version is $549.
See, that's not too bad, though.
The most expensive version is $899.
That is not
It's just
bad
basically
at
a computer marketed towards gamers, right?
Right.
Yes.
It's a computer with an operating system built upon the Windows-based platform for video games. So
It's a glorified computer.
Yes.
glorified computer.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
right.
a console, Drew. Like, imagine playing your favorite computer games like in your living
I
room.
remember a glorified console like this. It was called the Dreamcast. And that it still holds to me as one of the better consoles ever created.
You have the
Ahead of its
internet.
time,
You can
right?
connect to the
It
internet.
had the internet dial-up.
Dual screen in the controller.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you joke, but the Dreamcast was, in fact, ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
It is.
Graphics-wise, controller-wise, I mean, the controller was the first... I mean, it was already awkwardly shaped, like the 64 was already out there, but this thing was a controller that made sense. So, great video games on it, too.
So speaking of video games, we got Run, Forrest, Run.
Yes. So, again, I'm bringing, every now and then I get some downtime, and I like to see what's, the top free apps that are on for the Apple iOS. And one of the ones that I ran across, it's like this game, Run, Forrest, Run. I'm like, all right, really? Paramount is not, filing a lawsuit against this thing yet? Only to find out that it's Paramount actually releasing it. In memory, I guess this will be we're heading into the 25th. Is it 25th anniversary?
It's a 93 movie, right?
Yeah,
So
well,
it's only 21 years, right?
well, some big anniversary for Forrest Gump, and this is one of the ways that they're marketing.
Probably just the 20th. It's
The
probably
20th?
94. Yeah.
Okay, so
Because they're re-releasing it in theaters, I'm
Right.
sure, for the 20th.
94.
okay, so there you go. So then this is something they're doing. The game is pretty fun. I mean, it's similar to that Temple Run, but you're playing as Forrest Gump. And something I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but I think I might have shared with some of you guys is the podcast that I missed where where we said if you could greenlight any project, what would it be? For me, it would have been a sequel to Forrest Gump. The source material is already out there. There's the book already written. Very, New York Times bestseller. Tom Hanks. It's like the book doesn't. If I remember, the book doesn't pick up like immediately, but there's a lapse of years. So now that he's dealing with like the late '90s history and him being with the Y2K and whatnot. So to me, that would have been an awesome thing to greenlight, and I think Tom Hanks should definitely go back and do it. But this game, so awesome. Opening of this game is the feather falling down. It's very animated with the theme song too.
That's
Forrest Gump.
cool.
In the book, is Forrest still like the most important man in history? Like, he manages to be everywhere and
yes,
be in.
Yes. He's
Okay.
still
No clue.
Yeah, right. He's still and granted, this is the book version, so it's not like you can see the stuff.
Yeah.
But he walks himself through different situations. It's a pretty good read.
Sounds good.
It's a pretty good read.
For movie news this week,
Oh yeah.
Batman vs. Superman moves its date. Warner Brothers
Where's
tries
Chris?
to March 2015. 2016.
March.
March.
Marvel says, hey, we're coming out with Captain America 3, May 2016. Warner Brothers says, we're coming out with our movie, Batman vs. Superman. Marvel, you can't do anything with that. Captain America, everybody loves Batman and Superman more. Warner Brothers tried to be a bully, and they got scared when this Guardians of the Galaxy money started rolling in, and they went, shit, Marvel can do no wrong. We are getting out of the way.
Right.
Which they should have. And I would, I know I have a Marvel bias. I would say the same thing if Marvel tried to throw their weight around. Marvel clearly had that date. DC was being the aggressor, and I'm glad they moved. I'm glad that they tucked their tail and ran.
Do you think this will lead to a better movie, or is this already?
Well, it doesn't give them more time.
To me, this is the move, the stance that DC had to make. We are completely, for our series. We completely believe on our product. We are not moving. We're going head to head. I think, they needed that statement. This, to me, was the chicken move, and here comes another Zack Snyder freaking Superman.
Why March? I mean, March is such
Exactly.
a odd...
That's the unsure month. And people are just like, is this going to be big or not?
Is that Jupiter Ascending's month?
I have no idea. I lost track of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up and what you got for 2016. But to me, again, this is the movie that has never been made. Marvel movies at this point have been made. This is the movie, Batman and Superman, working together or against each other.
Since 2007 in I Am Legend.
So why is it that they don't? To me, it's just somebody wanting for the money, going for the money. Absolutely no fan service done here at all. This is just everybody going for the money.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously the product, and I think there'll be fan service. I think that they will, have nods to the Dark Knight Returns, written by Frank Miller, which has a very iconic Batman versus Superman battle.
Sure.
There's already been rumors and speculation that
Sure.
Affleck's wearing that suit. They talk about these characters. I do think that they're going to treat this with as much respect as Warner Bros. Is capable of for fan service. And to your original question, March? No, I don't think it's going to impact the movie. I mean, they're probably going to be done filming, next year, early next year, mid next year. That's just polish and shine time.
I think they're supposed to be done before December.
Okay.
Yeah, it wraps up production. So, I mean, it gives them a year for post production. That's pretty good.
It's going to open up against Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because that movie's totally coming out.
They're
Absolutely.
moving.
They're going to start filming soon. And
They're going to be like, oh man,
who's it directed by?
see.
This is a Brett Ratner movie, I think.
I don't know.
Oh.
It is Brett Ratner.
It is a Brett Ratner movie. He's completely behind it.
March has an untitled Disney animation movie. Warcraft comes out March 11th. The Divergent series is going to come out with a third movie.
Wow, so is this just studios trying to make the summer start way earlier?
It sounds like it.
I mean, March has been becoming increasingly
Better
better for movies.
Do
as far as
something
box
of
office
what
gross.
came out this March.
I got
This
you.
March was lame.
So this March was 2014
Yeah.
March was 300 Rising of Empire,
Yeah.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman, The Grand Budapest Hotel,
Divergent was them too, right?
Need for Speed, Bad Words,
So it is where movies go to die.
Divergent, the first
Divergent.
one, Muppets Most Wanted, which is what we talked
So
about.
pretty
where-
much is everything that's being released now in the
And Noah.
I think the first Hunger Games was March because they weren't very sure about that.
and Noah.
Not good history. Hopefully they know what they're doing. Hopefully they'll still deliver.
You can get lucky in March. If your movie's good or popular, then there's no other competition. So, there have been billion-dollar movies released in March.
Yeah.
So was G.I. Joe Retaliation back in 2013.
After moving it 3-4 times.
I hope they move it to 2015, at the end of this year or next year.
Just because you want to see it sooner?
Well, they can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't do winter because that's Star Wars.
Oh, that's Star Wars.
So,
Man.
if that doesn't get moved, who knows?
Because it was originally moved from 2015 to 2016, right?
Maybe that's what all
Yes.
these Twitter, wars between Bad Robot and
That's
Zack
why, I
Snyder.
mean,
they're
I don't-
leading up to the crazy battle of
What I
Star
don't-
Wars against Batman.
What I don't understand is just why they didn't move later in the summer. It doesn't make any sense. They
Take
didn't
it
want.
out of the
I mean,
summer, right?
they definitely don't want to add any more weight, but it could have been 2 weeks, a week. I don't know. Bully someone else out of their spot if you want. Big movies have opened up 1 week apart and had no issue
All right.
in the past. I don't know. I mean, and I doubt they even have enough footage to really be worried at the moment.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Again, another move that we just don't get. I keep saying this thing. Batman is the only thing that this movie has going for it in my eyes. Everything else, just week after week after week, just keeps taking plunges. It's like, just seeing a lot of people just take, just jump off the cliff every week, more and more. It seems that instead of getting me excited, this thing is just week after week, just not doing it. Not doing it at all.
Something I got kind of excited for, but then quickly didn't care about, was the Lonely Island movie announcement. Judd Apatow's producing this.
Right.
Producing's not directing or writing, so that just
bought the rights to the movie, which means somebody, it's got to be. It wasn't a movie that was pitched.
Yeah.
It was something that was laying out their project, and somebody said, "I like what you have there. Let me buy it from you." And this is Judd Apatow buying, so it's not like a nobody saying, "I want your movie."
I like their music videos. I like the work. But that's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
What are they going to do for an hour and a half?
It's like the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie.
They already
It's
have the
way
movie.
too long.
Hot Rod. Did you guys see that movie, Hot Rod?
I've seen Hot Rod.
That was their movie.
All the people are in it.
Yeah, all of
Lonely
them.
Island?
All of them directed by.
I had no idea what Lonely Island was back then. So.
Jordan Akiva Jordan.
Oh, yeah,
Akiva,
yeah. His face.
Yeah.
Jorma. No, it was Akiva Schaffer.
Akiva Schaffer. All right.
He's married to what's her name?
Of course.
So
and so. All right. Next. I guess just as quickly, interesting. We'll see. I mean, it's a comedy.
I'm not too familiar with Lonely Island, so I like Judd Apatow.
Okay.
So
You know it's Lonely Island. You heard of Lonely Island.
I know who they are.
Okay.
I've seen 2 music videos maybe.
we listened to their CD like
In the
Edgar's
back-
entire
in the
wedding.
Yeah.
With
I
his
remember that
12-year-old cousins like in the backseat.
in the limo. I remember that.
I enjoy Lily.
We just listened to that one over and over again. I don't know. Jack Sparrow was the popular one.
Yeah.
I love the Jack Sparrow.
I think that was the name of the song.
Yeah.
The next item that we just wanted to, I guess, another brief mention, another one. Let's get excited and then just completely get deflated. Is Terminator announces the next sequel, I guess, in this series.
Not announcing the sequel, but they announced the title.
It will be right.
It just wrapped filming. It's done filming.
It's done
already.
Yeah, that's
And
what,
we just know the name of it
that's
now?
what the title was released. It was
Because
the
it was-
final day of shooting,
Wow.
or maybe it was Schwarzenegger's final day of shooting. I don't know.
So
something
Terminator
like that. Something ended.
Genesis.
I think
GNISYS Genesis instead of GNESIS. What you guys interpret out of that? Because I have my own interpretation of this.
Well, it's definitely system, something
Yes,
computer related.
right? Genesis is the
Genetics
the
related?
the birth of mankind. Genesis is the rise of the machines. I mean, this is
We already had Riders of the Machines.
we already have that. I know, so that's what this is the birth of the systems. So it'll be interesting.
I thought the last one was so boring. Like Terminator
was.
Salvation was
It
boring.
was, but to the defense, I like this franchise has been one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Terminator 2 is one of the best
Outstanding.
movies.
Terminator 3, I
Overrated.
did not have that much of a problem with.
Huh? Overrated.
I think it's overrated.
Shut up.
Terminator 2.
Terminator
What?
2.
But I didn't see it until I was, in my 20s and
until you
in
had
the
seen some of
mid-2000s.
it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that movie was. I remember
Didn't live up to the
watching it
hype.
in the 90s, and it was great.
I mean, rewinding the listener question, Terminator is a franchise that needs to get rebooted. No more connections. I mean, maybe the character can still be called Sarah Connor or John Connor, but get rid of everything that exists and just start from scratch with that concept and make that action movie. Remake Terminator 1.
I mean, I think this is probably picking up right after Salvation, and this is going to be maybe the new world and how they're trying to still eliminate the last remnants of the machines.
Machines are dumb.
Well, not these machines; they kill people. It's crazy.
Other dumb machines are the Transformers.
Yeah.
Maybe by the grace of, the director gods, Michael Bay says that he will not direct Transformers 5.
No, said Alan Alvarez.
But I mean, Drew was talking to us about before.
Yeah.
And
I remember reading a couple years ago, that Michael Bay had no interest in directing Terminator Transformers 4. So, I mean, I guess if he's got nothing better, they
apparently
throw
this
money.
is official, though. This is him coming out and saying...
He said that. He said it.
He said also before?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he didn't direct Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it still feels like everybody calls that a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
Well, because it was his production company. So he started his own production company, and he hired his own little cronies of directors that he feels carry his vision as a filmmaker. And his vision as a filmmaker
It's like Hans Zimmer having his little minions compose music like him.
Klaus Badelt, and I can't think of anybody else that's with him. But
It exists.
it exists, that's right. To not direct Transformers 5, this is refreshing. Did any of us see the last Transformers movie?
Nope.
We all bailed.
Still
We
going
all
strong.
failed, right? So this actually gets me motivated to maybe go see Transformers 5, which leads to the question, who should pick something up like this? What director, what producer, what kind of mind do you think can run with this?
Certainly not Brett Ratner.
I mean,
Maybe one of the new
there
people.
were rumors on Transformers 4 of Spielberg taking it.
Why not? See,
He was looking for a project at the time. You know. But I mean, Spielberg wouldn't want to do that to his name, you know.
Yeah.
He's already blasted for producing it, so he would never do it. I don't know. I don't really care, to
Did
be
he
honest.
produce
who
every
does
single
it.
one of them?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Spielberg
executive
did?
producer.
Oh, say-
They make
It's
money.
a DreamWorks production.
Yeah.
So
They make money. I mean, it's a good decision on his part to
Well,
produce them.
This is something that I mean, it's
funded
already
Warhorse.
and it's already happening. I mean, this is not something that we can say, well, let's hope they just goes to die and then let's bring it back 5-10 years from now. It's something that's already in the works. Apparently, they're looking at scripts.
Yeah. Didn't they
It's
already have a
happening.
title? I don't know.
Did it already have a
No,
title?
they announced a release date. That's what it was.
Already?
Something 2017,
Oh, okay.
2016 possibly.
Maybe that will change with this if this does get confirmed for Michael Bay.
Yeah, well, they'll find someone quick. It's not going to be hard to find someone who can direct a Transformers movie.
Well, there's I think
Are they going to continue on with Mark Wahlberg or what? You know, who knows?
I
If it's
think
going to be just in space.
Justin Lin, the director of Fast and Furious, would be, I think, a great fit for this. To me, I enjoy every single Fast and Furious movie. I mean, this is going up to now 7, the 7th movie being released on the series.
But he left the series.
Yeah, but I mean, what he created and kept alive. I mean, from 3, even though that was his as well. That was a rebirth of the whole entire series, and he made it huge. I think a guy like that, I think, can handle a movie like this. I'll be interested. Plus, he's a Universal guy already. So,
Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon for everything.
Seth Green?
Ugh.
Seth Green in a Transformers movie? No way.
Directing?
Yes, as a director, writer, everything.
Why are you going to Seth Green?
Because he is a big Transformers fanatic. Yeah. And I think that would be... It'd just be one of those out of left field, just because this person likes it.
Kevin Smith.
He could direct.
Kevin Smith, cast Bruce Willis.
Joel Schumacher.
We're back to Michael Bay.
Oh, God.
Other sequel news: Frozen is going to have a sequel, and it's a story that you guys all hoped for.
That's right.
Guillermo.
So, Frozen, to me, a movie, it was great for what it was. It still is, Disney going back to the very top of being Disney, earning so much money that they don't even know what to do with it. Completely going, on marketing, everything. Excuse me, was on a frenzy for this movie. Costumes, everything. I mean, biggest selling soundtrack of like the 2000s, and on and on and on. And Disney comes out today I think, or maybe yesterday, the news came out that the sequel is coming out. But we're releasing it in books. We're releasing sequels to Frozen in the way of I guess, mini novels targeted towards 6 to 9 year olds, and we're gonna
novellas.
That's right. We're gonna carry them. They already have apparently 3 stories and the plan for 3 books ready to roll out, and they have the dates already. Which
it's Disney's Lord of the Rings.
right. So yeah, I guess it gives them the source material, and they can try out. Why maybe this works better. It also gives them, a way to tell the in between until they revisit the characters.
Mm-hmm. That's what I.
In a way, I'm glad they didn't just say, "Yep, we're making another animated movie."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of glad they did it that way. But to me, this is such a big franchise. I think Disney, this is the first time they just, check their brain before they check their pocket. So that was a interesting move.
Maybe they got too much on their plate right now.
Yeah.
They got Star Wars and Marvel, and they're like, Jesus, I can't handle this.
Books? Disney doesn't care about books. They'll delete that expanded universe in a heartbeat
Yeah.
to make the movie they want to make. So,
Good point.
I'm not concerned. Like, I think that if they want to make a Frozen sequel animated, you'll get it. It's just gonna take time.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Can the books? How are the books gonna work without the songs?
Kids will eat up anything.
Yeah.
I just went this weekend to my niece and nephew's joint birthday party. It was Frozen themed. There was Frozen decorations everywhere.
You dress up as
I did not dress up. The kids did. My niece was Elsa, if that's the Snow Queen.
Yeah.
one. Yeah, she was Elsa. So
Maybe they'll release the omnibus of all the books.
eventually, in 75 years.
So, Drew, you joined Twitter at The World is Square Backwards for one reason. And what was that?
That was
Star Wars weekend.
not Star Wars Weekend. I had it already.
Oh.
It was. I started using it more frequently at Star Wars weekends, but I wanted to. There was some sort of contest. It involved Bad Robot, a contest. I don't remember. It wasn't what you're thinking though. It's like you're trying to lead. It wasn't for the charity thing. But yeah, it was Bad Robot and contest related. So yeah. Bad Robot.
So Bad Robot tweeted out the charity winner, and they showed a card and a hand holding it, and that hand was robotic. So now all the Star Wars nerds, us included, are freaking out about whose hand that is and what that hand means and what does it represent.
Is it not obvious whose hand it is?
It's a hand.
It's not obvious. I don't.
It's just a robotic hand. Let's move on. Like I think.
Really?
I don't think it's anybody's.
I didn't. When I saw it, it wasn't crossed my mind. It's like it's a droid hand. I
get there was big commotion. When I looked at it, I'm like, all right, this is great. Luke is going to have his robotic arm.
But Luke has a flesh arm.
Yeah.
In Empire. Are you telling me robot technology's de-evolved in the last 20 years?
Something could happen where his hand was melted away or something. I don't know, but
And he got a crappy metal one? Like instead of getting...
Well, no, it just doesn't have the cover, I think is the
Right.
idea. Because you never see what it looks like in the original. All you see are the wires and the wrist. So,
Empire,
I
you see his flesh-colored hand.
No, I'm saying you see his hand.
Okay.
I'm saying you don't see what the robot hand looks like.
Okay.
To me, and I heard some absurd things like it's Darth Vader. I'm like, come on, really? How? No way.
No.
And, at that same time, I'm like, no way. But I hope they don't make that move.
Somebody could have found his hand that landed on some planet that came from the Death Star after it exploded. I don't know.
Disney said at one point...
What do you mean they
Darth-
burn him?
No, Luke cuts his hand off when he's fighting him. And it was his robot hand because you could see the wires and everything.
Oh, wow.
So it was on the Death Star. But, it's obliterated. I'm just joking. It's not not a theory.
Disney said at one point Darth Vader will be in all these movies. I don't know if that means Anakin Force Ghost or somebody else under the mask.
I haven't read
Has it
this.
been confirmed?
Rumors and speculation.
The latest I've heard is that he is rumored to appear in Rebels.
Hayden Christensen?
Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Which makes
I hope
sense.
not
but,
Hayden Christensen.
yeah.
He's looking for work.
It's going to be James. If it's Rebels, it's going to be James Earl Jones or Jason Arnold Taylor, or whatever his
Good
name
job,
is,
yes,
impersonating James Earl Jones.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. He is. I mean, he's going to be Obi-Wan.
What do you think, Andrew? You think it's someone, or
I
just...
thought it was Luke's hand when it was first shown.
I think let's go for that. I think this is
not impossible, but I didn't think they were trying to hint at anything.
This has been J.J. Abrams' way of really not releasing a damn thing that's anything new. I mean, it's like reaffirming. Yep, we got an X-wing. Duh.
Yeah.
Yep, we have a Millennium Falcon. Duh. Yes, Luke Skywalker's in the movie. You got it. I think this is all they were going for. This is
No, I think it's we have robots in our movies. That's what it is.
all right. Bad robot it is. So
also releasing in the coming time is Foo Fighters will have a new album.
right.
Gamma,
So,
you're our resident music expert.
well, now I just blanked on the title. Sonic Highway. I think it's
Sonic Highway, yes.
Sonic Highway is the name of the album. This is going to be the Foo Fighters' there's only 8 songs in this album, so it'll be the shortest by track listing, but it's going to be the longest Foo Fighters album playtime of only 8 songs. The cool thing that they did, there's 2 things. One, they recorded every song in a different studio at a different location, so different city. And then 2 is Dave Grohl is directing. Last year, he was nominated for Oscars and Golden Globes for his documentary for I can't remember what
Sound
City.
Something about an old record studio.
Yeah, another record studio. He directed it. He brought
Documentary.
his documentary. He brought his friends to play along with him. And this is going to be a series that he's making for HBO. It's going to be 8 episodes. And it starts, I think, in October of this year, and then it leads to the release of the album in November.
Cool.
I think it's going to be really cool. The concept, I think, is really cool. I like Foo Fighters. Something innovative that people are doing. Last album of Foo Fighters probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Nice. I mean, I think it's always good when artists do something different and unique and,
Yeah.
kind of put something
This is pretty darn quick. I mean, for Foo Fighters talk, this is pretty darn quick that they're spitting out another album.
It's been like 3 years, what?
Yeah, somewhat.
Long time.
Yeah,
They're great, though. I love Foo Fighters.
yeah. Foo
I'm
Fighters.
excited.
We did have some sad news this past week. Robin Williams did pass away. So, as part of that, we're going to go through kind of our top Robin Williams moments, movies, memories. Just kind of looking back at his career. The man obviously did a lot. Great stand-up comedian. Surprisingly dirty. When you listen to his stuff,
Extremely.
It's like, hey, the guy from Mork and Ork is talking about going down on girls and all sorts of craziness. That HBO comedy special is disgustingly hilarious.
Yes.
And I've never seen a
I
man
agree.
sweat so much on stage. I would too. I get nervous sometimes recording, so I can imagine talking in front of a million people.
Right.
So, but definitely a great performer and great guy. At least his work. He never invited me to dinner. I don't know if he was a great guy, but he did die from suicide and depression, which we don't necessarily want to go into all those. But if you do suffer from anything along those lines, do seek treatment and help, and talk to people, friends and family. There's people out there for you.
Yeah, and realize that, just like Robin would have realized it, how big of a deal you really are and how much you touch everybody else's lives. I think Robin Williams, this case for us, could he be the big actor of our generation? I mean, we've seen, when Marlon Brando was gone, Christopher Reeve. Now we get to see one that was our generation. I think this is this is like, for me, Harrison Ford, one day when that will come, it's going to be that for me, even though this was pretty big. I mean, when I heard it, it's one of those that I'm like, all right, here we go, another hoax. There's no way. And then I got, like CNN, I'm like, it was so hard to read it and really process it and believe it, because I think he was, I can't think of anybody else for us that's been that first one.
I remember where I was during the OJ trial. I remember where I was during 9/11. I won't remember where I was when I heard this violence.
I will, unfortunately.
Like this,
We'll find out later.
I mean, Robin Williams is a celebrity. He died. People enjoyed his work.
You ever remember the year? I think. You remember.
I remember thinking, "Wow, is he that old?" I was like, "No, I don't think he's
that's
that
the same
old."
thing that I did.
And
I was
then-
like, man, he can't be that bad. Like that. What happened? And then he started looking into it. So.
Yeah, I'm with Guillermo. This is huge, and he was definitely one of my favorite actors of all time, comedy or not. He was excellent at everything, basically, and supposedly at being a human being. Like, all his celebrity friends or whatever saying how generous he is, and he never like turned down a chance to meet a fan or anything like that. And and his death is really the first celebrity death that ever affected me. Like, I was genuinely sad.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were.
Yeah, like, it was shocking. And the first text I read was from a friend who said, Robin Williams died, man, I was not ready for this. And I was like, I totally agree. I was not ready for that. Like, I wanted to see him come back, Like, he needed to come back. And
He has 4 more movies.
well,
He
yeah,
has
it
4
still
more
can.
movies
Yeah, I guess.
still in the works.
Yeah.
I guess let's start taking, going back to a few of his roles. Just me scrolling through his IMDb, it's like endless every movie. A lot of movies that we know of. Starting, I guess, some of his earliest roles. I guess his big breakout was in TV, part of the, I guess, out of Happy Days.
Mm-hmm.
His Mork character that he later made the TV series Mindy and Mork, or Mork and Mindy. I think it's
I'd never even seen any of that, and I had no idea he was an alien until today when I was reading about his death. I was like, Mork was an alien? That's freaking weird.
And then he probably has
no idea.
some of the most memorable lines. The opening or his big line in Good Morning Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think anybody can just read Good Morning Vietnam out of our generation or the previous generation without hearing his voice forever. Then we go into some of his big characters. I mean, this guy got to play Popeye. He got to play Peter Pan.
It was a bad movie.
It was a terrible movie, but he got to do it. No one else had gotten to do it. He got to do Hook and play Peter Pan. A great movie, favorite. Then he went into Aladdin.
Yeah.
And something just reading today, it's the reason Aladdin did not get a chance to be submitted as a adapted screenplay for the Oscars, for the Academy, was because of Robin Williams. Because he improvised way too much for his character.
That's cool.
Which completely ruled them out. He
For what,
said-
Aladdin 3?
No, for the first Aladdin.
Oh, okay, go.
For the first Aladdin, he improvised way too much.
That's crazy.
So that was why Disney could not get the nomination that year.
Awesome.
It's great, isn't it? And then Mrs. Doubtfire, 9 Months. I don't know if you guys saw that movie.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's in it.
That's right. But he is, there he is. Jumanji, The Birdcage, Jack, Flubber, Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting is actually my favorite role of his.
Okay, all right, let's start talking about some of that. They're stealing thunder. But
Well, I mean, I loved him in Good Will Hunting, and that's a movie I watch like maybe 3 or 4 times a year because I just love it. Like when I first got the text, I was like, no, like damn it, why Robin Williams?
yeah.
I didn't realize he was 63 though. That's crazy. I really liked him in. There's this one clip on the internet that I love going back to of him on Whose Line Is It Anyway? And that's one I just love to go back and watch because he's so funny and he's so like spontaneous. I didn't really watch too many of his later movies. Like
Nobody did.
Like there's one where he's a priest and he marries like John Krasinski and The Angriest Man in Brooklyn. I saw a trailer for and I'm like, yep, that's old Robin Williams.
He's the priest of the wedding. He doesn't marry
Yeah.
John Krasinski. Guillermo had a very confused look on
Sorry,
his face.
that wasn't clear, but I mean, I hadn't seen a movie of Robin Williams in a while.
So your most memorable moment for Robin Williams then Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, yeah, and he talked about addiction a lot, which sucks. I mean, because he went through a lot of like addictions to cocaine and stuff. Like his tour was called Weapons of. Massive Weapons. Hang on.
It doesn't matter.
Weapons of Self-Destruction. It was
Oh
called.
yeah. Okay. What about you, Drew?
My favorite movie with Robin Williams in it is Hook. Like, I'm a huge Spielberg fan, and I was maybe the perfect age when Hook came out for that audience. I grew up, I watched it 1,000 times. I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite role of his as far as acting ability goes. He was fine, and I really don't have any problem with that movie. I don't understand why Spielberg, critics, and, people, anyone dislikes that movie. Like, it just blows my mind how hated it is.
I didn't know it was hated.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually
critically.
That
was Spielberg talks about it. I'm like, what are you doing? He gives into the critics. Spielberg's kind of a pushover, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he's a genius, so whatever.
That's right.
But
a couple of golden statues.
I would have to say my favorite moment, Ron Williams, is the 3DS commercial that he does with his daughter. Where
with
he,
Zelda.
That's right.
It's
we did
the
talk
promotion
about it at some point.
for Ocarina of Time 3D, and he's playing the DS with his daughter, and they reveal that her name's Zelda, and she was named after Princess Zelda, and that was a big deal because I'm also a huge Zelda fan, and to find out, some famous celebrity loves Zelda that much, it's like, yes, that's so awesome. But yeah.
That's pretty cool. Pretty unique moment.
I mean, Hook was going to be my choice for favorite movie. I like Robin Williams' work. I think he did a great range of comedy and drama. Did enjoy his later stuff. I mean, I hate to say it just because I don't want to be a jerk this close. I don't care. Like, he died. It's sad that he died. My heart goes out to his family. But it didn't personally touch me. And, everybody's kind of, like saying, like, oh my God, this is, this huge moment in my life. You're free now, Genie, and all this. I'm like, people die all the time from depression. Your heart doesn't go out to them. You're not Robin Williams' friend. So, I don't know. I always hate, like, kind of the disingenuous media attention and frenzy that we kind of have around something like this. So, I don't know. That's Chris's jaded and horrible monster take, but
the opinions are not shared. I definitely see that.
Yeah.
For me, I think, and something that we just didn't bring up, one of my favorite roles that he's done, and he's remembered as a comedian, but he had a great, serious roles, drama. He was just a great actor.
Yeah.
And my favorite actor, him as an actor, Patch Adams. Great story, heartfelt story, and the guy just sold it from being a college guy to making himself believable as the character that he was playing, which is a real guy. And the guy raised a lot of awareness even after that for the St. Jude's Hospital for Children. In research for leukemia and whatnot. So the guy definitely that was the role for me. That kind of I would always remember. Even though Good Will Hunting is fantastic, Hook is fantastic.
What Dreams May Come.
Oh yeah, Genie. I mean, Aladdin's Genie. This is an immortalized. Same thing that's going to happen to. I just blank on Mary Poppins.
What?
Mary Poppins.
Yes.
That's her name.
The actress?
Yes, Julie Andrews.
Julie
Andrews.
Andrews.
When Julie Andrews passes, I mean, this is going to be just like that. Her voice, her characters, forever. I mean, childhood, like generations of children after generations of children are going to see that voice and they're going to, always remember that voice. And this guy's immortalized. I think if there's any one character that he's immortalized by, it's the Genie. Which he takes absolutely all the credit. Disney gives him absolutely all the credit. So, pretty interesting. So, I guess let's go into the topic of the week. I mean, I did not see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not to be confused with TMNT or the Ninja. What was the 90s? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, 2, and 3.
Same name.
So you guys, I guess, give it your, as we usually do, our honest review, non-spoilerish, and then we'll go into the plot and just spoil it for me so I don't even have to ever go see this movie.
This Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was not as shitty as I expected it to be.
Okay.
Judging from the trailers and the fact it's produced by Michael Bay, I did not like it at all. It was more boring and just uninteresting to me than anything. I'm not like a Ninja Turtles purist. I love the 90s cartoons as a kid, but I haven't seen every episode. I love the 90s movies, not so much now as I did then, so it's not like this ruined my childhood or anything like that. It was just, there was nothing there. Like, I took my nephew to see it, which is why I saw it, and he's 5 now, so he's the age where he's watching the cartoons and he was so excited. And I spent, I think, more time watching his reactions to the movie than watching the actual movie. Like, I just didn't care.
What did he think?
Yeah. He liked it. He was like jumping in the seat. He wasn't. I mean, he's a very shy kid. So after the movie, he didn't say much about it. But
he's a Dwight.
I could tell watching him. Yeah, he's my brother's son. So he was just kind of shaking and giddy, and I could see in his face he was enjoying it.
Okay.
And he said he loved it, and his favorite character was April. I was like, oh, you think she's pretty, don't you? And he hid behind my brothers.
You should have slapped that kid in the face, Drew. Yeah. April was worthless in this movie.
Hang on, before we move from Drew. What's our rating? 0 to 5, 5 to 10?
I give it letters.
Letters. What is this? I think
from my personal view is a D.
Okay. Good enough.
I loved the Turtles in this movie. Because I love the Turtles. So I guess I liked the Turtles, except I didn't like the movie around the Turtles. Because the Turtles were cool. Splinter was weird. His voice didn't match up, I guess.
His voice was too young.
His voice was
clean. It didn't match his body at all. It was weird.
April O'Neil was so bad. Will Arnett was bad. Whoopi Goldberg was bad. Sorry, you've seen the trailer. Whoopi Goldberg is in the trailer.
I didn't know that.
She was in the trailer. Whoopi Goldberg got fat. Like, I did not watch The View. Like, man, she ballooned up.
She's old.
I just love seeing them in action again. Because I love the Turtles. Like, I loved the first movie. That's where I heard my first cuss word. It was damn. Like, Raphael said damn real loud. And I'm like, oh my god. Damn. And I liked it. Product placements were stupid.
They were everywhere in this movie. Far worse than even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
They used their weapons, which is really nice. Like, 'cause in the second one, they used nothing. They didn't use their weapons at all.
Did they maintain their typical weapons? Donatello has a stick, sword.
Donatello's sword staff has an upgrade.
Oh,
so
good enough.
I would give it a C minus.
Wow.
Like, the Turtles were so good, though. I love seeing the Turtles, but the movie around it sucked. Shredder sucked. Like, the Shredder was weak, like, barely explained, and their backstory was weird.
I'll expand more on that later.
Okay.
I gave the movie a 5 out of 5. You can read my full 5.5. 5.5. Sorry. 5.5. Which to me, I know that translates to an F in school, but to me, like, a 5 is the line of, like, starting to say it's good or bad. So this movie is okay. Like, it exists, and there are good moments, and there are mad moments, and there are bad moments. Spoiler free. Everything is a hyperbole of itself. Donatello's smart. Now Donatello is the super nerdiest nerd that you will ever see in your life.
He's Edward Snowden, apparently.
Yeah.
Raphael is angry. Now he's the angriest, most upset Hulk outraged person before. Like, that's just exactly how the characters are. I think that, as far as this movie's concerned, we are 30-year-olds watching this movie that is made for kids. Kids like Drew's cousin. Nephew. There are better action movies than this, so there's more for them to see. But as far as this movie, in this environment, in this world, in this Hollywood, and what is produced, it is just as good or bad as the 1990s Turtles. So, I don't know. Like, I know people
disagree. Well, 1990.
The 1990s Turtle.
The first one, right?
First one.
I mean, they both have very flimsy plots. and weak villains that might look visually impressive but don't really mean anything, and what are they coming up with? And everything else is kind of weird. I will say, I disagree with Edgar. I did not actively dislike April or her cameraman, so Megan Fox and Will Arnett. They were in the movie. They were fine. They were plot devices. They pushed stuff forward. April O'Neil was actually more beneficial and useful in this than she was in any of the first trilogy. So that's spoiler-free section. So this is a Turtles movie, so there's not a lot of plot. But if you are sensitive, we are going to go into spoiler discussion starting now.
Get out of here, Guillermo.
No, that's right. This is where I actually want to hopefully lead the conversation, and you guys can fill in the gaps here. All right. So what's the backstory?
All right.
And
so
did they do a good job?
No.
So April O'Neil owned these turtles because her dad was a scientist that worked with the bad scientist.
So these are just physical tiny fish tank turtles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she fed him pizza.
She had home videos from her childhood that she watches at one point in the movie of her playing with the turtles and trying to feed them
She uses
pizza.
a Windows phone.
That's
Everyone
a nice
uses
touch.
a Windows phone.
That's a nice touch, the pizza. Does it make... I guess it comes back?
Pizza?
Yeah.
Let's see. They
Oh,
love
yeah.
pizza.
They love pizza.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
that's
I'm
not
glad
wrong.
they didn't kill that.
So her dad discovers that the bad scientist has a plan to destroy the city. So he starts to burn down the lab. April saves the turtles in Splinter and puts them in a sewer.
Who is Splinter?
A rat.
So a rat.
He's a lab rat. Same lab rat and everything.
And then she leaves. She never sees them again. So when the turtles come, she doesn't know that those are the turtles that she saved until later on.
She hears a couple of their names when she meets them the first time, and she like kind of reacts, and you don't know yet why she's reacting. She's like Donatello, Raphael, or Leonardo. I don't know which two she sees, which two she hears, but yeah.
One thing that they did do in the trailer, which I was thankful for, a little bait and switch. Shredder is not the Caucasian American actor.
That's something I wanted to talk about, to expand on what Edgar was saying.
Okay.
I don't know if it was ever officially released, but they said, I read online that he was Shredder, that guy, and I think they did originally plan for that, as they did Turtles being aliens, and with the backlash they changed it. And I think watching, if maybe you ever want to watch it again or whatever, if you watch it, you can see they added in this Japanese Shredder guy because people were upset that he wasn't Japanese and he wasn't tied to Turtles or whatever, or Splinter or whatever, his backstory, Yoshi, whatever his name is, I don't know. But when he first encounters Splinter, Shredder does, they talk to each other as if they have a history.
Oh my god!
Splinter has no history with the Japanese Shredder guy. He has a history with a scientist. So I think they originally shot this film with the scientist as Shredder.
What happens to
so
Megan Fox's?
April O'Neil.
He
April
supposedly
O'Neil's dad
is killed in the fire or whatever.
April O'Neil's dad and the bad guy whose name is Sax. They both are working on a genetic mutation that will bring upon the cure for a virus that they're creating, because Shredder wants to kill everyone. So Shredder works with this guy called Sax, and they're in cahoots, but you don't know that until later.
Okay.
So Sax is the bad guy all along.
So it's the plot from V from Vendetta. They want to poison the city. Spoilers for V from Vendetta.
Oh god.
To then cure it to be the heroes.
Right.
So how about?
And they throw in the money motivation too, which I was upset with.
So
when he's explaining it, he's going through all and I'll be the one they come to, and I was like, oh, this makes this. I was pleased with it because he's saying he wanted the power, he wanted people to be afraid of him and to come to him for help, whatever. And then just one little line after that, and then the government's going to give me a blank check, and I'm going to be stupid rich, and I'm like, oh god, they freaking ruined it.
The worst part, and then I don't know if this will help answer your questions. They're in the sewer, and Splinter goes, I need to teach these guys something. I need to teach them discipline. Oh, look! A book about ninjutsu. He reads a book
with drawings
and teaches himself ninjutsu. And then he goes, now I'll teach the kids.
Somehow,
I'll teach the turtles.
Somehow more absurd than him as a rat learning from watching his master. Like, how do they get worse than that?
But they manage.
Yeah.
And
do they grow up? Like, do the turtles grow up?
Yep.
So they'll be there's
No,
teenage-
you see a flashback of them as kids for
Learning
just
jujitsu?
a minute or two.
Yeah.
And then they're pretty much adults the whole movie, or teenagers.
teenage.
and this bothered
But they're
me.
not teenagers.
This bothered me, and it shouldn't bother me. Raphael had a toothpick in his mouth the entire freaking movie. He gets beat up in the sewer, toothpick in his mouth. Gets punched in the face, toothpick in his mouth. Rides down a snow mountain, toothpick in his mouth, just chomping on it the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to capture the demographics.
I don't know.
Good thing they didn't find a book about like plumbing. That would have been terrible.
And this, I guess in the original Turtles, you never see them get their weapons, right? They just have them. So you don't really question where they got them from. But in this, you see Splinter presenting them with their weapons. You're like, where did they get these weapons? Like, did somebody drop these in the sewer? Did they break into a weapons store, pawn shop, and take all these? I don't know.
And here's going to be your favorite part. Shredder, wears the suit of armor. It's a
Does he look like?
Yeah, he looks like Shredder.
Okay.
It's a combination. He looks like 2014 Shredder.
Okay.
It's a combination of robotics, like gas powered, and like computers, magnets. So he ends up out Wolverine. He'll like throw his arms out,
similar to the Metal Samurai from the end of the
and
Wolverine.
he'll have like 12 blades on each arm that he then can shoot out. And have magnets pull back.
Yeah, he shoots the blades and they come back via magnet.
Shredder kicked everyone's asses, by the way. Like, no turtles were a match for Shredder.
Here's another reason of why I think Shredder was originally supposed to be the scientist, was that April O'Neil shows up in the end battle with the ooze or serum, what do they call it? Mutagen. And she's like, Shredder! She's here! And it's like, what the fuck does he care about that? He doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Like, if there were the scientists in there, he would be upset and he would want it. But the Shredder wouldn't care.
Then this is a movie that definitely had a story, but then last minute they changed it.
Yeah. And they even reference the alien thing in the movie. Like,
that's right!
Will Arnett says, so they're aliens? And she goes, no, that would be stupid. Or April says that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And they also, another reference, Leonardo slices up pizza and a piece falls on Splinter's head.
That's funny. I like that.
And I went home after this and watched the original, the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
That exact scene was in the original.
So, I guess then, what can you do to, because a sequel is announced, it's ready to go, it's green-lit.
Her father could be alive.
Oh, Splinter falls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's the spoiler here?
Shredder falls, and he's dead. But wait,
He's dead.
The mutagen.
He had the mutagen
broke
in his
open
hand
in his hand,
when he fell.
and you see it empty.
Like
So
you see,
he
it's
now
like there's
has-
someone on his fingertip or something, and
So he
closes
now
his
has
fist, and
mutagen powered.
That's the last you see of Shredder.
What about a Splinter?
He's going to be Super
He
Shredder.
lives.
Splinter lives.
Yeah, everybody else lives.
So-
one other thing. This movie's easy to pick apart.
Sax? What happens to Sax? Did they show what happens to him? Because he's supposed to be Shredder.
Yeah.
So
No, he gets...
does he get arrested or what?
They're in the lab, and Will Arnett hits him with a fire hydrant.
Right. So
Yeah.
he's packed in a lab somewhere. I think that scene was added in. That scene was added in. Like it was filmed after the rest of the footage with Will Arnett and April fighting
to
him.
kill him.
just to keep him separate from Shredder, because there. And there was another thing. That scene had weird editing where things were happening with Shredder, and then it's as if that paused, and then things were happening with April and the cameraman fighting Sax, and then that paused. It's like they weren't happening simultaneously. It's like we saw this and then we saw this.
Will Arnett's character is in his apartment listening to Careless Whisper, eating a Parmesan cheese and mustard sandwich, and he just eats it. It's like, what?
Does April O'Neil
That
have
was
a
the
yellow
stupidest
jumpsuit?
part.
No,
She has a yellow jacket.
but it's barely yellow. It's like brown yellow.
So it's like Snyder got to pick the freaking costume.
Yeah.
That was...
Oh, and they.
Whoa. Go ahead.
Megan Fox is on a trampoline in the first 2 minutes of this film,
Fantastic.
bouncing up and down.
Yeah. There's also a scene of her leaning out a window where they focus on her rear end.
Very nice.
Michelangelo was probably the funniest part of this movie because he was just crazy.
And there's something I disagree with. I don't know if what he said about the turtles, but Edgar says he likes them. I didn't. They had no personality to me. Like what Chris said, they were just hyperbole versions of themselves or whatever. But the backstory was stupid. There was no development. The Raphael Leonardo relationship was very rushed. Like you get 3 lines of dialogue about that.
Yeah.
So and I think it was. At least the Leonardo-Raphael relationship was way better delved into in the original 1990 film.
What's their relationship?
The same.
It's like, Raphael doesn't want to follow Leonardo, and he's
wants to do his own thing.
Right.
This movie's easy to pick apart, and I'm going to do so a little bit more. 2 things that jump out at me, and they're both kind of near the end. The turtles get captured, except for Raphael. Raphael gets to save them at one point. Mm-hmm. So kind of reverse, instead of Raph getting his butt kicked. But anyway... The others are hooked up and they get some of their blood drained and they're dying. And April's like, what do I do? What do I do? And Donnie goes, find us adrenaline. Yeah. And she looks on a computer monitor and there's a giant button that says adrenaline right on it. So all she does is hit it a bunch of times. Adrenaline. A touch screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, then they get pumped up and then they're like, ah! And then they break it.
That unfortunately is the best part of the movie too. What follows when they break out and how just bouncing around they are and stuff. That's the only time in the movie I laugh too. And Michelangelo, what does he say? He's like,
"Hey, you guys,
look how calm I am," or something.
So, are the CGI turtles better than the puppet turtles or the costume turtles?
They looked weird.
Yeah, I mean,
I got used to them.
They didn't do with. I mean, it's motion capture, but they didn't do with it like Andy Serkis is known. Like they're not using the actors.
Okay.
So, and I think that shows with their interactions with April.
How were
and
the
Neo.
voices?
They were good.
They were all the same.
It's
Transformer syndrome. They all sound the same.
I'll agree with that.
Oh man!
I heard Johnny Knoxville and Leonardo DiCaprio the first 2 lines he was speaking.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Johnny Knoxville is the voice of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo. I said it twice.
Johnny Knoxville is the voice of Leonardo.
Leo is a puppet.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Wall Street.
This is going to be the dog shield of this episode.
Everybody gets one.
You were so serious, Drew. You're like,
I don't know. I misinterpreted his reaction there. I was like, well, yeah, no.
Of course, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Anyway, oh god,
it's Sally Raphael.
So Chris already knew that. I didn't have to reiterate that for him. Johnny Knoxville, like I said, I heard his voice the first 2 times, but afterwards, and there were a couple things comparable to Transformers, and one is that the turtles are often talking off screen. Like you don't see them when they're talking; you just hear their voice.
About that,
and it's the
same thing from Transformers. Like they're talking off screen, you don't know who's talking. The camera's just spinning, so you're like,
lots of slow motion.
I think I can hear Michelangelo because he's the horny one, but that's it. Like their interactions with the other characters is unnatural, especially Splinter when he's talking to April. It's like no.
Crank makes it into the next movie.
No,
Krang.
Krang.
Yeah.
Into the next movie. Is there any clues, any inclination? They go by a gigantic robot?
No. The turtle van makes an appearance in this movie.
No, it does not.
At the very end.
It's like a turtle scion.
Yeah, but it's there.
Yeah, it comes in the end.
That's awesome.
And it has a missile launcher.
And one of the things that I really want to pick on the movie about, Will Sachs, trained by Shredder. I don't know why I keep saying this here in reverse. Trained by Shredder, supposed to be a master, martial artsman himself. Gets a gun in his hand and shoots this gun with his entire body. Instead of pointing it at Will Arnett and Megan Fox's character to kill them, he punches with his fist and uses his whole body every time and misses completely. It's the most ridiculous choreographed action sequence that I've ever seen.
There's one scene I think where he's interacting with Shredder, when they revealed that he was taught by
That's
Shredder
true.
or whatever, that was probably filmed afterwards to separate the two.
And that actor's that like you only see the Japanese actor's face for like a minute of actual screen footage. I think Drew cracked the secret code.
Yeah,
that they did some post-production.
After
work.
I read that, I mean, this isn't like the tipping point that made me not want to watch it, but like early on, I was reading stuff about the movie, and I read Shredder was the white scientist guy. So, like, eventually, I stopped caring about this movie. Didn't care, so I never read. Hey, he's not Shredder. So,
Surprise for you.
yeah, and I was like, because right before when they first show him, the person sitting next to me is like, "That guy's Shredder, right?" And I said, yeah. And then the very next scene is him talking to the Japanese Shredder, and I was like, okay, I'm confused. I had no idea.
Edgar, any closing thoughts? Anything that we missed?
I really like the Turtles. Like that I hated Will Arnett's character. He was so throwaway. They wasted Will Arnett, in my opinion. They could have had Joe Schmo over there, like as a cameraman, and he was just trying to get into Megan Fox's pants the whole time. Like that was annoying.
I think
That's
you're-
true, yeah.
Like,
He and Michelangelo.
but Michelangelo was like that with April in the first movie too.
He was. There was no like. I mean, and this is a product of the times too. But there was like no sex there.
No.
He's like, I'm gonna kiss you on the TV screen. I mean, it was way different. I don't think Turtles really translate to 2014 that well.
They totally forgot to talk about the symbols that Megan Fox was like blabbing about the whole movie.
It means family.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
they
do
threw in the
explain
whole
it?
family thing. Yeah.
But you're right. The Turtles never go. Yeah, we beat up the foot, and then we write family in Japanese to prove that we did it.
Ohana means family.
Oh
God.
we spent a lot of time tearing this movie apart, but I agree with Edgar that the Turtles' interactions were good at times. That I did laugh a couple times, not as often as the movie wanted me to. Like it had a lot of jokes. And not all of them were good. A couple of them were amusing, especially when they were self-deprecating.
Popular elevator scene.
So
I
bad.
didn't laugh. I smirked.
I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
So before the final battle, all four turtles are in an elevator. And they look really serious. And then Michelangelo starts beating on his nunchucks. Then they all start beating their weapons, and they beatbox.
Leonardo is hesitant at first, but then he gets into it.
It's dumb. It's bad.
Is there a ninja rap?
Yes.
I guess
In the
this
credits.
is
And
it.
then
In the
credits.
There's a ninja rap.
Yeah,
I
there's a
watched
music
some-
video. You
I
can
watched some crazy music video where it was like four
It's that
people
song.
dressed up with.
I like the intro a lot. It was like very comic book, like graphic novel intro. Like that was cool. And then-
What do you guys think the creators of this thing, of the
Oh my
Turtles
God.
think?
Thanks for the paycheck.
I forgot to mention this. But he brought up the opening sequence. How they explain why the Foot call themselves the Foot
Oh.
is because they walk over everyone that they're like robbing or attacking or whatever. And I was like, that didn't need an explanation. Just let them call themselves the Foot with no explanation, please.
The foot are thugs with guns. Nothing
Yeah,
more.
they're not ninjas.
Okay.
They have like Chinese masks or something, but that's it. Like they basically move around exactly like army or marine soldiers or
So
something.
this movie, the only setup that they do for the next one is Shredder's alive.
Super Shredder.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and there could be something with April O'Neil's father still alive. They never really
Well,
because
when you guys were talking about all this, the only thing I was thinking is, and part of this rewrites maybe, is what if, the professor guy put whatever was in his brain into the little rat, and then that's, the father now. It's Splinter.
Sax
Transcendence.
said he shot her father.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Splinter said he died in the fire. Sax says he shot him. So
There you go. I just cracked the second movie. You're welcome.
Well, what do you listeners think about Turtles? What do you think the sequel will be about? Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed our minute of laughter. You can hear more laughing moments from us if you follow me on Twitter at NerdEXP. You can follow Drew at World.
Rousey DeLaro. That's how I pronounce it.
And you can follow Edgar at EdgarX86. Guess what year he was born? And you can follow Guillermo when he goes to see Turtles this weekend. Because we convinced him.
That's right.
you should go see it. The Turtles are funny. I like the Turtles.
So,
Well, thank you, Guillermo. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Drew. And thank you for listening to this week's Nerd EXP podcast. I hope we help you with your nerd IQ. Level up, friends.
boop.